It's 11:30 at night. You know you should be asleep. You have to be up for work in exactly 6.5 hours, but you are lying in bed. The room is completely dark, and your face is illuminated by the harsh blue glow of your phone screen. You're just scrolling, a little innocent doom scrolling to wind down. Swipe? It's a guy sitting in his truck wearing wraparound sunglasses, intensely yelling into the camera that the banks are going to freeze your accounts by Friday because of the Middle East conflict. Swipe? It's a 20-something finance bro standing in front of a chart with massive, terrifying red arrows pointing straight down, telling you that the US dollar is going to zero next month. Swipe? It's a woman walking through a grocery store pointing at a $9 box of cereal, claiming that hyperinflation is here and you need to start hoarding canned goods immediately. With every swipe, you can literally feel your chest getting tighter. Your breathing gets a little shallower. The knot in your stomach, the one you've been carrying around all day just trying to pay for gas and electricity, suddenly twists into a hard, cold rock of pure panic. You put the phone down on your nightstand, stare at the ceiling, and think, what is the point of even trying? What is the point of budgeting or saving if the entire global economy is about to collapse on Tuesday? I'm Karen. I study how people think about money and why it shapes their outcomes. And honestly, watching how we consume information right now is terrifying to me. Because I look at the absolute tidal wave of panic on the internet and I realize that millions of people are being systematically paralyzed by fear. We are living through a genuinely scary moment. In 2026, with the oil shocks, the blocked shipping lanes, and the cost of living surging, the economic anxiety you feel is completely valid. It is real math. But when you open your social media apps, you aren't getting real math. You are stepping into a highly engineered multi-billion-dollar casino that is designed to weaponize your very real anxiety, amplify it by 1,000, and convert your terror into cash. You are being hunted, and the bait is your own fear. Today, we have to pull the curtain back. We need to dissect the exact anatomy of social media fear-mongering. We are going to look at who is actually getting rich off your panic, how the algorithms are specifically designed to trigger your fight or flight response, and how you can completely detox your feed so you can stop having panic attacks and start making rational, defensive financial moves. Because right now, your attention is a currency, and you are being robbed. Before we talk about the creators and the grifters, we have to talk about the machine itself. We have to understand the battlefield you are walking onto every time you open an app. We like to think of social media as a public square, or maybe a library of opinions. It's not. It is a retention engine. The only metric that matters to the executives at these massive tech companies is time on platform. Every extra second you spend staring at your screen is a fraction of a cent in advertising revenue. So they employ armies of the smartest data scientists and behavioral psychologists on the planet to figure out what makes the human brain freeze and stare. And do you know what they found? The absolute stickiest, most magnetic human emotion is not joy, it is not inspiration, it is not educational value, it is fear, closely followed by outrage. There is a part of your brain called the amygdala. It is the ancient lizard part of your brain responsible for processing threats. When you are scrolling and you see a headline that says, "Urgent, banks preparing for mass collapse next week," your prefrontal cortex, the logical part of your brain, doesn't get to evaluate it first. Your amygdala intercepts it. It screams, "Lion in the bush," and it instantly floods your body with cortisol and adrenaline. You freeze, you stop scrolling, you watch the entire video because your biology is screaming that this information is vital to your physical survival. The algorithm is sitting in the background watching your behavior. It doesn't know if the video is true. It doesn't know if the guy in the truck is a PhD economist or a guy who failed high school math and lives in his mom's basement. The algorithm knows one thing. Karen stopped scrolling. Karen watched this for 45 seconds. Karen's heart rate probably elevated. Therefore, this is highly engaging content. So the algorithm takes that video and aggressively shoves it into the feeds of 3 million other people. When you see a tidal wave of economic doom on your phone, you naturally assume, wow, things must be really bad if everyone is talking about it. No, things are bad, yes, but the volume of the panic is a technological illusion. You are being fed a concentrated algorithmic diet of pure terror because terror is profitable for the platform. It keeps you paralyzed on the couch, watching ads for mobile games and teeth whiteners between videos of the apocalypse. So the platform profits by keeping you scared. But what about the creators? What about the people actually making these videos? Why are there suddenly thousands of new financial gurus screaming about the collapse of the fiat currency system? To understand this, you just have to follow the money. And in the world of social media, the money is usually in the link in bio. Let's break down the anatomy of the gold and crypto grift. It is incredibly common, and it thrives on geopolitical crises like the one we are in right now with the oil shocks. You will see a video of a very serious-looking guy. He will pull up a headline about the U.S. government's debt or the price of oil hitting $120 a barrel or inflation eating away your savings. He will use lots of intense macroeconomic buzzwords to sound authoritative. He will paint a picture of utter, unavoidable devastation. He will tell you that the money in your checking account is going to be worthless paper by Christmas. He builds the anxiety until you're practically hyperventilating. And then, right at the end of the 60-second video, he offers you the life raft. The only way to protect your family is hard assets. Click the link in my bio to get my free guide on rolling your 401k into physical gold, or sign up for this crypto exchange to get your money out of the banking system today. He isn't a prophet warning you of danger. He is the top of a sales funnel. If you click that link and buy gold coins from the dealer he recommends, he gets a massive affiliate commission. And here's the brutal secret about retail gold dealers. They often charge a premium of 20 to 30% over the actual spot price of the metal. If you invest $10,000 of your hard-earned savings into gold coins through his link, you might instantly lose $2,000 to dealer markups and his affiliate payout. If you click his link and sign up for a crypto exchange, he gets a referral bonus. If you buy his survival investing course for $499, he gets rich while you get a PDF of useless recycled information. These creators do not care if the dollar collapses. Honestly, they probably don't even believe it will, but they desperately need you to believe it. They are in the business of manufacturing extreme psychological discomfort and then selling you the cure. If they made a video saying, hey, inflation is tough right now due to the oil shock, you should probably cut back on dining out, switch to generic brands at the grocery store, and aggressively pay down your high-interest credit cards, nobody would click a link in their bio. You can't monetize common sense. There is no affiliate link for paying down your own Visa bill. So they have to escalate the threat. They have to make you believe that boring, rational financial defense is pointless. They're literally monetizing your panic. There is another deeply cynical flavor of this grift that is running rampant right now, and as someone who has worked in big box retail, this one makes me absolutely furious. It's the empty shelves panic merchant. You've seen these videos. A creator walks into a Walmart or a Target at 9:30 p.m. on a Sunday. They walk down the paper goods aisle or the canned soup aisle. The shelves look barren, picked over, and empty. They pan the camera around, use a highly dramatic, urgent voice and say, "Look at this. The supply chains are collapsing. The oil crisis is shutting down the trucks. By next week, there will be no food left. You need to prepare now." As a mom who budgets every penny and as someone who understands how retail actually works, I want to scream at my phone when I see these. Do you know why the shelves are empty at 9:30 p.m. on a Sunday? Because it's 9:30 p.m. on a Sunday. The weekend rush just cleared out the highly trafficked items, and the overnight stocking crew hasn't pulled the pallets out of the back room yet. It is basic retail inventory cycling. Yes, the global supply chain is strained right now. Diesel prices are through the roof because of the Strait of Hormuz. Shipping costs are astronomical. But the trucks are still driving, the warehouses are still functioning, the food is still arriving, it's just more expensive. But the creator doesn't want to explain retail logistics, they want to trigger your primal fear of starvation. Because right under that video, in the caption, is a link to a $350 emergency survival bucket, or a link to a $200 tactical water filtration, or an affiliate code for off-grid solar generators. They are drop shippers of doom. They use visual manipulation, an out-of-context video of a temporarily messy grocery aisle, to hijack your nervous system. When you buy that survival bucket out of pure terror, you are taking that $350 of your actual liquid cash, money you desperately need right now to pay your inflated utility bills or your credit card minimums, and you are trapping it in a plastic bucket of freeze-dried stroganoff that you will literally never eat. You are making your daily life harder to afford so that a 24-year-old TikToker can earn a 15% affiliate commission. You are actively transferring your wealth to them, driven entirely by an artificial, manufactured reality. So we know they're grifting us, we know they are manipulating the algorithms, but we need to talk about the psychological damage this is doing to you, even if you never click their links. Because the real danger of this fear-mongering isn't just that you might buy an overpriced gold coin. The real danger is what the fear stops you from doing. In psychology, there is a concept regarding overstimulation and behavioral paralysis. When a human being is exposed to a constant, unending barrage of existential threats, the nervous system eventually gets exhausted. You move past anxiety and land in a profound apathy. You basically shut down. I call it financial nihilism. If you spend 2 hours a day watching videos telling you that the banking system is a fraud, that the government is collapsing, that oil prices are going to cause a Mad Max scenario, and that the middle class is permanently dead, your brain logically concludes, why should I try? Why should you sit down at your kitchen table on a Saturday morning, pull up your bank statements, and meticulously categorize your expenses to find an extra $150 to pay toward your credit card debt? Why should you bother clipping coupons or switching to generic brands at the grocery store? Why should you try to save for retirement? If the world is ending, the budget doesn't matter. This is the ultimate tragedy of social media fear-mongering. It strips you of your agency. It convinces you that the macroeconomic waves are so massive and the destruction so inevitable that playing financial defense is pointless. And so you do nothing. You procrastinate, you leave the credit card balances alone, you keep buying the expensive convenience foods because you're too depressed to cook, you self-soothe by buying things you don't need on Amazon because, hey, the dollar is going to zero anyway, right? The grifters want you in this state. A paralyzed, nihilistic consumer is the easiest person to manipulate. But while you're sitting on the couch, frozen by their apocalyptic narratives, the real world keeps turning. The banks do not collapse, the grocery stores do not permanently empty. Instead, 5 years go by, the crisis eventually stabilizes, like they always do. But because you gave up, now you have $15,000 in credit card debt. You have no emergency fund. You missed out on years of compound interest. You missed out on preparing for the actual boring reality of a high inflation environment. The apocalypse didn't happen, but your personal financial ruin did. And you engineered it yourself because an algorithm convinced you that trying was pointless. We have to draw a massive permanent line in the sand between what goes viral and what is actually true. Here is the unsexy, brutally boring reality of the 2026 economic crisis. It is a grind. It is a slow, methodical squeeze. The oil shock in the Middle East is causing massive spikes in diesel fuel, which makes shipping everything more expensive. Natural gas prices are pushing up the cost of fertilizer, which is slowly pushing up the cost of food. Corporations are using these headlines as an excuse to pad their profit margins with greedflation. It is exhausting. It is deeply unfair to the working class. It means your margins are incredibly tight, and you have to be absolutely ruthless with how you spend your money. But it is not a Hollywood movie. It is not the sudden, dramatic collapse of society. Real economic survival is incredibly boring. It's the stuff your grandparents did. It's turning down the thermostat. It's cooking dried beans instead of buying frozen dinners. It's driving a 10-year-old car until the wheels fall off. It's obsessively checking the unit price per ounce at the grocery store. It's paying an extra $50 to your highest interest debt every time you get paid. None of those things make for a good TikTok. None of those things get a million views. If I make a video titled, "How to Save $40 a Week by Meal Prepping Chicken and Rice," the algorithm will bury it because it doesn't trigger your amygdala. It doesn't scare you. It just asks you to do a little bit of disciplined work. But the loud screaming videos, the ones with the red siren emojis and the all caps text, they go viral every single time. You have to realize that the volume of a financial opinion on social media is inversely correlated to its actual utility. The louder someone is screaming, the less you should listen. The people who actually understand money, who are actually building wealth, are usually quiet. They are sitting at their desks, looking at spreadsheets, ignoring the noise, and executing a boring, repetitive strategy. You have to fall in love with boring. Boring is safe. Boring protects your family. Viral will leave you broke. So how do you navigate this? You obviously still want to use social media and you want to stay informed about the economy. How do you separate the actual useful financial educators from the fear-mongering grifters? You need to learn how to spot their syntactic structure. Grifters follow a very specific, predictable formula. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's like learning how a magic trick works. The illusion instantly disappears. Red flag number 1, the false secret. Listen for phrases like, "what the mainstream media isn't telling you," or "the elites are trying to hide this from you," or "they don't want you to see this video." This is a classic manipulation tactic. It makes you feel like an insider. It flatters your ego by making you feel like you are part of a special, awakened group of people who know the real truth. If someone's entire premise relies on everyone else in the world lying to you, they are usually the one running the con. Macroeconomic data is public. The price of oil is public. The inflation numbers are public. There are no massive, shadowy secrets, just data that takes patience to read. Red flag number 2, the artificial deadline. Fear requires urgency to bypass your logic. A grifter will always attach a terrifyingly short timeline to their predictions. The housing market will crash by next Tuesday. The dollar is collapsing this month. Real economics moves incredibly slowly. It is like turning a massive cargo ship. Recessions take months, sometimes years, to fully develop and play out. If someone is telling you that a catastrophic financial event is going to happen within the next 72 hours and you need to act right this second, they are trying to bypass your critical thinking. They want you to click the affiliate link before your prefrontal cortex kicks in. Red flag number 3, the pivot to a product. This is the ultimate tell. Watch the last 10 seconds of the video. If an incredibly dire warning about the collapse of civilization ends with a promo code for 10% off a supplement, a VPN, a survival bucket, or a crypto exchange, you are watching an infomercial. Treat it with the exact same level of skepticism you would give a guy selling slap chops at 3 a.m. on cable television. Red flag number 4, lack of boring options. A real financial educator gives you options. They say inflation is high, so you can either lower your expenses, try to increase your income, or delay major purchases. A grifter gives you an ultimatum. The system is broken, and the only way to survive is to buy my specific asset. When you start looking for these red flags, your feed transforms. You stop seeing terrifying prophecies, and you start seeing thousands of desperate salespeople trying to meet their monthly affiliate quotas. It actually becomes kind of funny once you strip the fear away. All right. We know how the machine works, and we know how the grifters operate. Now we have to reclaim your mental real estate. Because as long as your brain is bathed in a constant soup of cortisol and anxiety, you cannot make good financial decisions. You need to execute an immediate, ruthless attention detox. Step 1, the mass unfollow. I want you to open your apps tonight. Go to the accounts you follow. If an account makes you feel tight in the chest, if it makes you feel hopeless, if it relies on all caps text and screaming, unfollow it instantly. I don't care if they sometimes have a good point. I don't care if you followed them for years. You are the curator of your own digital environment. You are allowing toxic waste to be dumped directly into your living room. Cut them off. Starve the algorithm of the engagement data it craves. Step 2, the 24-hour rule. When you do see a piece of scary economic news, even from a legitimate source, do not act on it immediately. If the news says that gas prices are going to spike again, do not immediately jump in your car and go wait in a 40-minute line to fill up your tank. Force a 24-hour buffer between the stimulus and your response. Tell yourself, okay, I hear the information, I am going to sleep on it, and I will decide tomorrow if this requires a change in my budget. Almost every single time, you will wake up the next morning, the emotional adrenaline will have faded, and you will realize the threat is not an immediate life-ending emergency. You regain your rationality. Step 3, focus on the 4 walls. When the macroeconomy feels completely out of control, you have to shrink your world down to what you can actually control. You cannot control the Federal Reserve. You cannot control the Strait of Hormuz. You cannot control the national debt. So stop worrying about them. Focus entirely on the 4 walls of your own life. Can you control what you eat for dinner tonight? Yes. Can you control whether you buy name brand or generic paper towels? Yes. Can you control whether you put an extra $20 toward your credit card bill this month? Yes. Your entire financial strategy right now should be deeply, intensely local. Build a moat around your own household. Every time you find yourself spiraling about the global economy, physically put your phone in another room, get a pen and a piece of paper, and write down one tiny, actionable thing you can do today to save $5. Action cures fear. The grifters want you passive. You defeat them by taking small, boring, hyper-local actions. I know it is exhausting. I talk to people every single day who just feel completely beaten down by the constant barrage of negative information. It feels like we are living in a permanent state of emergency. And honestly, it is incredibly unfair that simply trying to live a normal life and pay your bills now requires you to also be a psychological warfare expert, dodging algorithmic traps and affiliate marketers. You shouldn't have to defend your own sanity every time you open your phone. But this is the reality of the attention economy. Your anxiety is a billion-dollar industry. The people screaming on your screen are not your friends. They are not prophets. They're opportunists. They're looking at the very real struggles of the middle class during an oil crisis, and they're trying to figure out how to squeeze a few more dollars out of your pocket before the panic subsides. You have to refuse to participate. You have to look at the circus, roll your eyes, and walk away. You have to realize that the most rebellious, powerful thing you can do in a world engineered to make you panic is to stay calm, to stay rational, to focus on the boring, quiet math of your own household. The economy is going to be rough for a while. The prices are high, the budgets are tight, but society is not collapsing on Tuesday. You are going to be okay. Take a deep breath, close the app, Go look at your actual bank account, make a boring plan, and take your power back. You've got this. I'll see you in the next one.